What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. I almost wasn't able to get a video out today, but obviously after taking off last week, I wanted to bring this to you because I'm seeing some things in the charts right now that I absolutely want to share with you. And considering there's not much going on with the news right now, I figured this would be a great opportunity to hop in and show you exactly what I'm looking at right now. And I hope you guys are going to appreciate this. This is actually the first time in a long time I've started to feel, sort of a little bit more confident about what could be happening for the Bitcoin price. So let me know what you guys think. Stick around to the end. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this. So as you guys could see right here, we've been consolidating and the Bollinger Bands have been getting very, very tight. And we know that whenever we have these really, really tight areas for the Bollinger Bands, that's usually when we have these very, very big moves, right? For example, you could see right here, back here, super tight. We had that move right here, same thing, right? And if we look at what we're doing right now, you could see that we were very tight and now it's attempting to have that expansion. If we hop in over here, remember I told you guys that this would be the absolute perfect area for us to have put in that long. And you guys could see right here, we have had 3 tests on this upward sloping trend and we have been putting in higher lows. So this is why I said right at this level, if we had that retest, which we did have that perfect test right there, would be the perfect opportunity to long. And now that we're breaking right here above where we had the majority of these candle closes, you could see that we are headed towards the top of what I believe to be a bit of an ascending triangle right here, right? So we could see that the area of interest is right here at around 17,540. So that would be my first target area. Now there is a potential that we could come up here, retest this area, right? Retesting this resistance as support, and then possibly break out of this. Now, if we do break out of this, this could take us all the way up as high to almost 19,000. And you could see the reason that we have that is because we have a lot of interest in that area right here, right? So there are a few areas to keep in mind. First, we do have this 18,171 area. The next would be 18,591 right here. But this is exactly what we were expecting. I don't expect there to be a fake out. I did think that there was a little bit too much negativity, especially just in the space. Lots of people calling for these lower levels. And generally, when you get everyone on the bearish side, you do tend to have that move to the upside, right? Also, the other thing that we do have to be a little bit careful about, though, is every time Bitcoin keeps forming these flag patterns, we do break down to the downside. You see, we had one here, we had one here, we had another one here. So what we don't want is we really don't want to come back below this mean right here, which at today's level is sitting at around 16,500. That would put us back into this flag, but then that does risk us potentially having a breakdown just like the rest of these, right? So do keep your eyes on that. And of course, if you guys are, looking to trade, make sure that you guys check out the tutorial popping up right here. There's actually $56,000 worth of bonuses below, so make sure that you guys check that out if you're interested. But something else that I want to kind of talk about, and this is a little bit more long-term, but I did want to discuss that Coinbase has been a very good indicator on these volumes right here. You can see whenever we have these big spikes in volumes, they usually represent pretty significant turning points in the crypto space. And if we look right here, you could see that this is the highest volume that we have ever seen literally on the entire Coinbase chart. Now, I did have some lines that show you right here, and basically every time that you see one of these volumes and you see this green, it represents an actual major pivotal moment, right? So you could see right here, when we had this volume spike, that represented the absolute top of the market back here, right? We could say same thing down here, right? Almost the bottom, right? We had a couple more weeks of downside, but for the most part, that was the bottom. This volume right here, we had the top, this volume right here, the bottom, this volume right here, that was the top of this move, right? Interestingly enough, we did not actually get one right here, which was quite interesting. You can see the volume actually stayed quite flat. And currently we are having another major one, which is the biggest one that we've ever had. And that occurred right here. And ever since that point, we have not gone lower than that level. So does that signify that we could be looking for that major reversal pattern? Well, of course, I have also highlighted these orange ones, which you could see we did get a big spike here. And it was kind of just in the middle of a move, didn't really mean anything, right? Now, this one right here actually did have a major correction. So this was somewhat significant. It was a mid-rally correction. You can see right here, we came all the way up to about 41 and dumped all the way down 31% to 28. So I would say that that was kind of a significant one when it comes to major market moves. And these two right here, I believe that the reason we got both of these major volumes is because we were dealing with the Celsius and the Terra Luna situation, right? So you could argue that maybe this was because of the FTX, right? So we do have to take it with a grain of salt. But the interesting thing, and again, if I get rid of this, is the fact that, we had the highest volume, but we had a smaller move, than what we had back here on these two moves, right? For example, on this one from top to bottom, this was a 26% crash. This one from top to bottom, this was a 34% crash, right? But whereas this one right here, top to bottom, okay, this was only about a 26, right? So this was actually lower than the previous one. So, and not only that percentage-wise, but obviously dollar-wise, it was definitely lower than the previous two. So does that mean that the markets are potentially starting to turn around? Well, another interesting thing we can look at, if you guys have ever looked at this market cipher indicator over here, is we've really only ever been on the weekly in this red money flow just a few times. You could see right here, we had some red. Right here, we had some red, but, basically that was it. We've had no other red, right? And you could see the average times that we tend to stay in that zone. So, back here to here, we were in the red zone about, let's see, it was 329 days. Over here, you could see we were in the red for about 217 days, and so far, we've been in the red for about 245 days, which is right in the middle of these two areas, right? And generally speaking, what you want to look for is looking as the red, the money flow right here, gets close to this sort of red dotted line. Can you guys see that down here? And anytime we get close to it, it really represents either the exact bottom or almost the bottom, right? Of course, we could always dip a little bit lower. For example, we touched it right here, right? And Bitcoin was around $276. And then we did have a flash crash down to 164. But for the most part, that was the consolidation. And as soon as we came out of it into the green, that was confirmation. Now, of course, we don't actually have confirmation yet, right? But you could see same thing over here. The only downside to this, though, is if you do wait for that confirmation, for example, we didn't have that until right here. By the time you got that confirmation, we were already well into the rally, right? But the same thing right here. And you could see that we are currently right now, I don't know if you guys could see this, we are touching that line exactly. So it doesn't mean that, Bitcoin couldn't have another little, quick leg down or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what it does mean is that historically speaking, this is the area, arguably, where you do have that major bottom for the money flow being in the deepest levels possible, right? And generally after that, you do start to look into the green side. Now, guys, it's not just the Bitcoin chart. I understand that we are going into this, potential recession and the Fed is raising rates, but you could see right here that we did have an attempt on the dollar to break back into the blue zone, and it got rejected, and currently it looks like we could be heading down to about 102, and we have had a distinct breakdown of the dollar out of this ascending broadening wedge. I mean, there's absolutely no denying it. You could see that we have broken to the downside. So that's just something I wanted to point out. Now, obviously, we do have to pay attention to the CPI data and the FOMC on the 13th and the 14th. That could have a lot to do with what happens with Bitcoin. Like Seth says, he says CPI 7.4 plus or minus 2, and FOMC, if they stick to their 50 basis point, then that should be pretty good for Bitcoin, right? That should be exactly what we're looking for. And another thing that I just want to point out too, shout out to Byzantine General. He says perps volume is in a pretty strong downtrend now. Market contracting, speculators capitulating. We're probably entering the final phase of the bear. But that last phase can be pretty long, right? And if you look at this here, average perps volume hasn't been this low since around here in 2020. So, like I said, guys, you can have a look at where Bitcoin was in this area, and that was kind of right before the major rally. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have a major rally. I actually don't want us to have a major rally, but I do think that right now, what I'm seeing in the charts, ultimately, as long as we don't start breaking down out of this flag, and, specifically, I mean, if you zoom in where we're at right now, we're attempting right now. Right now, we're attempting to potentially break out of this formation. So I would say pretty much where we are right now at around, 17,275. I would say, if we can close above this and hold it, over the weekend, obviously we are heading into the weekend. I don't trust weekend volume. Then I do believe that Bitcoin could have, a rally up to potentially that, $19,000 level, and then we'd have to reassess where we're at again. But I do think that we are due for a little bit of a relief rally, even if it is a bear market rally. And, even if you do believe, that we, do come a little bit lower, I just honestly don't think, based on the data, based on the charts, and, you know, having a look at these volumes, that we are going to be getting that $10,000 Bitcoin that everybody wants. You know, I'm not saying we can't go down to maybe that 13.8 level, right? Very, very, very significant close on the, if you go over to the monthly right here, remember I've gone over this time and time again. We have this very, very important level for the close right here, right? You guys could see, and you could see the amount of interactions, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So could we have a flash down to there, consolidate sideways, you know, kind of close out at around 13.8? Sure, that's possible, but 10,000, 9,000, 6,000, these crazy numbers that people are calling for, I just don't see it. And I do think that, you know, we are entering that super sweet spot zone where you could see, you know, anytime Bitcoin was down below, you know, this area, for example, we fell below it right here. Yes, price was, you know, 3,000 back in 2018, actually was $4,000. Okay, so it fell down to 33. You know, what was the discount from there to there? About 15%. So, you know, what would happen if Bitcoin fell roughly 15% from here? Look at that, guys. 15%, look where that puts us. Almost exactly, basically right at that, you know, 14,000, 13.8. So it's very possible we have that, you know, there could be another 15% dip or whatever, but I do believe that we're in the golden buy zone, and I do believe that Bitcoin is at least due for a short-term rally. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much again for coming back. Super, super quick update. I just wanted to bring that to you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.